stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat. Stop letting this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back, get your lick back. If a nigga owe you something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat. Stop letting this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. I feel like I'm JX.
J-Way.
I'm a perfectionist. Adderall got me restless.
I'm gone.
Run with a wild crew, they get reckless. Young boy, come up off that neck.
Give me
To
that.
the trends. See a lead, be the band.
Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Corner to Copa. I am here with a player profile. We are getting closer and closer to the winter meetings, free agency, the arbitration deadline. A lot of things have been coming up and teams are starting to wheel and deal, make some free agency acquisitions and make some trades. And the Tigers are looking to improve upon the successful season they had last year. We had quite the carousel at first base. We saw some Mark Canha. We saw some Gio Urshela. We obviously saw Spencer Torkelson. Most of those guys are now gone. We are left here with Spencer Torkelson as the lone primary first baseman, and the Tigers will hopefully shore up that position. It's likely that Torkelson will be around for the foreseeable future, but we will need to have a backup plan, somebody that can platoon at that position and create some more stability, some more power. And we're going to look at several players that could possibly be in the works at that position. And today we're going to start with Josh Bell. He is a 32-year-old first baseman who can provide some power to the team. The Tigers have been quiet thus far as making any acquisitions to play alongside Spencer Torkelson outside of re-signing Bly Madris to a minor league deal. He is currently not on the 40-man, which is why he was waived and then re-signed. But outside of that, we don't have anybody that can play that platoon position at first base. Josh Bell is a switch hitting power hitter who had a pretty solid second half of the year. He doesn't have a lot of he's not very good defensively, but he is a switch hitter with good splits, pretty even splits on the left and right hand side. He played the first half of the year against the Marlins and struggled pretty mightily. But after getting signed by the Arizona Diamondbacks, he was able to regain some success. He hit about 280 in his last 2 months of action. And while Christian Walker, the all-star first baseman, was out with injury, he was able to step in and ultimately he won a spot on the team. He went when Christian Walker returned, he continued to play DH because his bat was so strong in the second half of the year. They had to find a place for him to hit, and he ended up the season pretty well. He hit 250 with 19 home runs and 71 RBIs, which is not bad for a guy that was waived. I mean, this was more of a salary cut move, but he fared pretty well in the second half of the year, albeit, like I said, not a very good defensive player, but he provided some versatility. He hit for a lot of power when he got to Arizona, and it increased his free agency stock pretty well. I mean, I think there's a lot of teams that would take 250, 19 home runs and 71 RBIs out of their corner infield position. As far as Spencer Torkelson is concerned, this is a player that spent about 2 months in the minor leagues. He struggled quite a bit out the gate and was able to be called up and had a good month of August, but he continued to struggle. He continued to struggle in the playoffs, and it ultimately was one of the factors to why the Tigers were not able to beat the Cleveland Guardians last year. He's played about 3 full seasons and has only had 1/2 of year of consistent good baseball, and that was in 2023. He was not able to build upon that success in his 2024 season. But yeah, he did have a hot August. He had a 187 runners in scoring position, which is awful. You compare that to what Josh Bell had this year. He was at 298, nearly 300 average with runners in scoring position, and we could have certainly used his bat against the Cleveland Guardians this year. Um, Torkelson had a 27% K rate, which ranked in the 16th percentile. The one bright spot, he did turn things around defensively. He finished with 1 out above average, which was in the 70th percentile of all first basemen. Um, as far as what Josh Bell's role could be, like I said, his splits are pretty even from a left and right hand side. So he's not, I mean, he bats left and right handed. So he doesn't have a true weakness as far as hitting on either side of the plate, but he could certainly play some first base against right-handed pitchers. I mean, he could bat left-handed to give Torque some days off. If Torque is struggling, if Torque comes out the gate and he's hitting pretty well, then Josh Bell can just come off the bench in certain opportunities. He can pinch hit for other individuals. He can play some DH as well. And I don't think that his what we would have to sign him for would not be a movable deal at the deadline if we deem that we no longer need his services. But I could see him being signed anywhere in the area of $8 million for a year or two, maybe a prove it deal to get a bigger deal in the future. But I would not be mad at signing a guy like him. I think that he would be an upgrade from a Gio Urshela, who didn't hit for much power, a Mark Canha, who was more of a on base, a guy that was able to work his way on. But he played solid defense, but he utilized his plate discipline to get on base more so than his power hitting. So. So yeah, that's Josh Bell. He's 32 years of age, and he's continuing to hit with pretty good success as he gets up in age. And I think that he could be a pretty good run producer. Like I said in closing, he hit 298 with runners in scoring position. Certainly something that we could add to our order. At best he could play he could hit in the fifth or sixth hole and hit for some pop. We have that short porch in right field. He bats from the left-handed side a decent amount, so I think that he could definitely hit some balls out of the ballpark. Maybe a baby Prince Fielder, if you will. But yes, be on the lookout for more player profiles as we look at some more candidates that the Tigers might take a look at. Subscribe to Bleacher Speakers on YouTube and Corner of the Copa on all audio aggregators.